You know, for over half a century, one name has been synonymous with cryptic clues, random terror, and the chilling reality of a killer who was never caught. The Zodiac Killer. He isn't just a cold case. He's practically a piece of American folklore, a ghost in our cultural machine.
But here's the thing. This isn't just about trying to figure out who he was. The bigger question, the one we're really going to dig into today, is why. Why does this mystery have such an iron grip on our imagination? What makes this particular ghost so hard to shake?
So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get into the actual facts of the case. Then, we'll dive into the killer's twisted game with the media, the ridiculously long list of suspects, and why even today's amazing technology is struggling to crack this thing. Finally, we're going to talk about our own fascination with this story and ask the big question, will we ever really know?
Okay, so first things first. To really get this mystery, you have to feel the fear. This all kicked off in the late 1960s, a time of supposed peace and love, right? Well, that was shattered by a series of brutal, seemingly random attacks that just came out of nowhere.
You know, what's crazy is that the official timeline is shockingly brief. It starts with the murders of 2 teenagers in December '68, but the real terror? That begins in August of '69, when the killer starts writing to newspapers, taking credit and demanding they publish his ciphers. His last confirmed murder was a cab driver, Paul Stein, in San Francisco in October of '69. Just 5 known victims, but the legend was only just getting started. And here's the most critical fact, the bottom line. Despite all the letters, all the suspects, and decades of investigation, the case is still active. No one has ever been charged. To this day, the FBI's official file on the Zodiac Killer is still stamped open and unsolved.
See, killing people wasn't enough for the Zodiac. Not even close. He wanted something more. He wanted fame. He meticulously built this public persona, this terrifying character designed to paralyze an entire region and taunt the very people trying to catch him.
I mean, just think about the sheer audacity. He literally gave himself a name. This is the Zodiac speaking. He created a brand, that chilling cross-circle symbol. He wasn't just committing crimes, he was controlling the entire narrative, mailing pieces of a victim's bloody shirt to prove it was him, and sending these bizarre codes to the press, turning murder into a public puzzle. Just look at this thing, the Z340 cipher. He sent this to the San Francisco Chronicle in 1969. This incredibly complex matrix of symbols stumped the FBI, the NSA, everyone for over 50 years. And when a team of amateur sleuths finally cracked it in 2020, what did it say? No name, just more taunts about not being afraid of the gas chamber. For the Zodiac, the game was the point. So, if he was communicating so much, why on earth was he never caught? Well, honestly, one of the biggest reasons is that his letters and clues created an absolute flood of leads, basically burying investigators in a sea of possibilities. I mean, just try to wrap your head around this problem. Over the years, more than 21 different people have been publicly named as potential Zodiacs. Everyone from unassuming teachers to decorated veterans has been put under the microscope. It created this chaotic signal versus noise problem that, frankly, continues to this day.
And you can really see how these theories just evolve over time. For decades, the prime suspect for a lot of people was Arthur Lee Allen, a Navy vet who was investigated over and over but never charged. Then you fast forward to 2021, and a volunteer group points the finger at a new guy, Gary Francis Post, an Air Force veteran who died back in 2018. But despite all their claims, law enforcement has never confirmed he's a suspect. The list just keeps getting longer, and the answer? It stays out of reach.
With so many dead ends and a list of suspects that only seems to grow, you can see why investigators hoped modern tech would be the silver bullet. I mean, we're in an age of amazing forensic breakthroughs. So you have to wonder, why hasn't science cracked this case? The key technology everyone talks about is forensic genetic genealogy, and it's a revolutionary tool for sure. Basically, investigators take an unknown DNA sample from a crime scene and upload it to public databases, think Ancestry DNA, to find distant relatives. From there, they can build a family tree right back to the suspect.
And the thing is, it really works. It's not science fiction. Just look at this list from the last couple of years alone. Cases from the 70s and 80s, stone cold for decades, are being solved. It's giving names to the nameless and bringing closure to families who have waited a lifetime.
Which, of course, leads us to the million-dollar question. If this technology is so powerful, what makes the Zodiac case so special? Why is this ghost so hard to pin down with science?
Well,
The reality is a perfect storm of frustrating roadblocks. First, any DNA they might have from those old envelopes is probably too degraded or contaminated to be useful. Then there's the evidence handling from the 60s. It just wasn't up to today's standards, so the chain of custody is a mess. Plus, forensic labs are often totally overwhelmed and underfunded. Or there's the simplest, most maddening possibility of all. The Zodiac was just careful enough to never leave any usable DNA behind in the first place.
But the official investigation, that's only one part of this whole story. Let's be honest, a huge reason the Zodiac mystery endures is because of us, our collective, insatiable fascination with true crime. The Zodiac didn't just create a mystery, he created a media franchise.
This quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. The Zodiac understood this intuitively. By writing letters directly to the press, he wasn't just confessing, he was inviting the media into his dark world. He turned himself from a criminal into a celebrity, and the media was more than happy to play along.
And that media frenzy he kicked off back then has now morphed into this massive modern ecosystem. You've got documentaries, podcasts, books, and countless Reddit threads constantly re-examining the evidence. We keep the case alive because, in a way, we kind of need it to be. These stories give us a safe way to confront our darkest fears. But there is a really dark side to all this public obsession. As this review of a recent Zodiac project pointed out, it can lead to exploitation. You have armchair detectives totally convinced they've solved it, who end up harassing innocent people, muddying the waters for the real investigation, and treating the real-life tragedies of the victims like it's some kind of game. So, when you add it all up, the flawed evidence, the media circus, the decades just flying by, it all leads us to this final, really unsettling question. After all this time, will we ever really know who the Zodiac was? So where does that leave us? Well, the official case is still open. The online debates are still raging. New theories pop up all the time. But the answer is as elusive as ever. At this point, the Zodiac is more of an idea than a person. A ghost haunting not just cold case files, but our entire pop culture landscape. And maybe that leads us to the most terrifying possibility of all. It's not that he was caught for something else, or that he died. It's what one person online pointed out. That he just stopped. That he folded his murderous persona back into a normal life, went to work on Monday, and just watched his own dark legend grow, living out his days right among us. An unsolved mystery is one thing, but a monster who simply decided to retire? That is a truly haunting thought.